Also, Chit Chat Radio. We're always on Chit Chat Radio. And tonight, for the first time, we have added TikTok. So TikTok, welcome to Logical Wellness. I will introduce myself and give you some disclaimers in just a second. My IG family, it is always good to see you. And you know, the more they try to shut me down, the louder I'm going to talk, the more media outlets we're going to get to, because I really, y'all, I need us to stay well. So good evening, as always. Good evening again, Chit Chat Radio. So for those of you on TikTok who do not know who I am, let me introduce myself, tell you who I am and what it is that I do, okay? Oh my gosh, somebody's already talking about how bad symptoms are. Okay, so thank you for joining, because I'm going to try to answer as many questions as I can, because we're on IG, Chit Chat Radio, and on TikTok. I may miss some of your questions, so please feel free to keep sending them over and over. That person who's sending me information about your vagus nerve, do not let me forget that issue. For those of you on TikTok, my name is Camille Jones of CEJ Images. I am a holistic health practitioner and creator of lymphatic frequency detox. Lymphatic frequency detox, in short, is simply an electrical reset of your individual electrical system, right? So I always start, my people on IG know, I always start with some disclaimers, okay? Always got disclaimers for y'all. One, I am not a doctor. I don't want to be a doctor. I am a holistic health practitioner, which means I prefer to allow the body to heal than to just keep treating. So I am not a doctor. I am not a physician. I am a holistic health practitioner, which simply means I help enable your body to get to a point where it begins to heal itself, right? Somebody else has asked me about sickle cell. Remind me about that too if I forget. Vagus nerve, very important, and vagus nerve and sickle cell related. So let me go through some other disclaimers, right? Other pieces of information. I am a holistic health practitioner who speaks only from what I know, which means I'm not going to just tell you some stuff that I read and don't have any proof to back up. I'm going to speak to you from my experiences, the experiences of my clients, what they go through. And that's all I can speak to, is what I know, is what I experience. So as a holistic health practitioner, I am someone whose majority of clients come to me because they've been suffering most of their lives and have been to scores of doctors, and they're on a gazillion meds that they've been on forever, and they have not yet experienced relief. They come to me to get the detox and the reset needed for their bodies to reset themselves. And oftentimes, most times, Patrice, what's up? Another one of my affiliates from Tennessee. The body will heal itself if you give it the opportunity to, which is creating that reset. So people come to me and my affiliates who also do this LFD for resets. And what happens when the body resets? Symptoms go away, right? Disease, the definition of disease is the body out of order. What we actually do as LFD experts is we reset the body to that in order space so that the body begins to heal itself, right? So lots that we got to talk about tonight. For those of you just joining, I'm explaining my disclaimers to the new TikTok folks, because my IG people know this, and they know this about me. I am unfiltered. And I am very, very serious and passionate about my ish. So in that passion, you'll hear it. And sometimes it will sound as if I'm speaking about you, but I'm speaking directly to you. I have a goal or a mission of global wellness. I am in a space where every single day of my life, I am hearing, particularly now in this last 2 years, hearing about way too many people who are freaking dropping dead. And it's for no other reason at all, except we are not educated about the workings of the body. And there's a reason why. We have been programmed to think that biology is science. Are you listening to understand? Are you listening to Are you listening to what I'm saying? Are you listening? What I'm saying is science is not a part of biology. So that's essentially what we're going to talk about tonight, because I want all of us to be well. Y'all, we have been deprogrammed out of knowing that the energy inside these souls are the most powerful thing on earth. And the more you allow them to medicate your energy, you depreciate the functionality of the most important thing in us, which is that energy. And it's a very easy fix to go the opposite way if we just understand. Yeah. So those of you who follow me on IG, right? Who follow me on IG, you know that I get very passionate. And every time I get passionate, there may be some words. Chaco drop. Good evening. Thanks for being here. Listen, sometimes a little F-bomb may drop. And so if you've got the youngsters on tonight, you know I love the youngsters, but tonight this might not be the show for them, because when I am frustrated, I get more passionate, and I'm frustrated for you. I cannot stand to hear the number of people that are dying en masse, particularly in this country right now. So for those of us that are in it, I'm tired, y'all. Every day somebody gets on my table and tells me about a mom, an aunt, a cousin, a child who has either become paralyzed or they were otherwise healthy, and all of a sudden they just dropped dead, like two of the athletes this week, and hopefully not another, but potentially so, because of not knowing. So what I do as a lymph specialist is to explain to you that one system that is the one system that is going to control and does control your life or your death. But if you continue to let science become a part of your biology, you are going to stay in this pharmaceutical roller coaster of genocide that they are just throwing all over the place, instead of sitting in your wellness, right? And being well is very, very easy. If I didn't know better, I couldn't say that to you. But I see people who were told that they were going to die as part of what I do. People come to me who have been told by numerous doctors that they are going to die, that they will never get better, and that there's nothing else that can be done for them. And they leave feeling better. I am not a genius. Okay, so maybe, but not really. It is not me. It is the power inside me, inside you, inside you, inside you, inside of all of us, that simply needs that little teeny reset, and man's issues, which is what illness and disease are, go away. Period. It is that easy. So we're going to go back to basics. Some of you that are new on Instagram, you haven't heard me talk about the lymphs before, but I'm going to explain it to you like I've explained it to my clients and other people who have been with me for a minute. I'm going to explain that system and understand why, if you don't get a hold of what you give that system, you will never, ever, 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 ever feel better. Ever, right? Ever. So let's start by this. We're going to start going into the definition of biology and science, and listen to what I'm telling you. And I'm going to tell you this first. So let me say this. Some of what I say, some of you aren't ready to hear, and that is perfectly okay with me. My birthday's every day. It doesn't even matter. If you don't, some people aren't ready to get off that roller coaster. Some of you aren't ready to get off of that big pharma space. Some of you aren't willing or ready to get under the protection of the insurance companies, which don't protect you from shit. But some of you aren't ready. And that is completely fine. That is absolutely your space. I'm not at that space. But if you are, that's completely fine. It doesn't mean that I don't love you, because I have to. As part of this universal energy, we're all connected. So I have to love you if I want my world to be great. But I don't have to agree with you. I don't have to like what you say. And if I don't, I just don't listen. So those of you who are not ready to get on this holistic train and connect to the logic, because we're going to go to that too. Wellness is logical, not scientific. And I can prove it to you. I'm going to prove it to you. I'm not just going to say it. Everything that I say to you, you can either try or you can go investigate yourself. This is exactly my point. And I want you all to keep this power. I want you to keep this power. Okay. Keep it. So what I say, some of you might not be ready to hear. So I enthusiastically, you hear what I said? I enthusiastically invite you to swipe any direction except this one if this is not what you're ready to hear. And I love you anyway. Have a great day. I hope you stay well. So you don't have to listen. When things, people get so bothered unnecessarily by things that people say. Why? Why? What is the point? If they differ from you or don't like what you say, is that going to take back what you said? No. Is it going to change whether you say it again? Probably not. Are they paying your bills? No. Well, then who gives a holy shit, right? And again, I enthusiastically encourage you to hold your own opinions and beliefs, because one of the things that is killing this country faster than anything else is the divisiveness created by the government, and media. I'm not talking about just the government, and media too, to create this divisiveness out of difference of opinion. When in the hell did we get to a point where it's time to fight over someone's difference of opinion? If we were all of the same opinion, we'd be robots. Ooh, i.e., what are they making now? What are they programming? Robots, so that we don't ask questions, we don't speak to each other, and we don't learn. Y'all, if we don't have differences of opinion and have a space where we can sit and talk those differences out, we become the robot zombies that we are now right in this space. There is nothing wrong with somebody disagreeing with me, and I hope you do, because that creates conversation. And the only way that we learn is through conversation with others. But we have been programmed to be dumbed down and only controlled by the 6 to 12 corporations that own every media outlet in the world, and allow those entities who have their own self-interest tell you and determine what your brain thinks, which directly controls how your body feels. But that's into the conversation. So let me just say, for those of you who aren't ready for what I'm going to give you, it's absolutely fine. Thank you. Love you. Hope you're well. Swipe whatever direction you want, right? For everybody else, let's get logical. So this is what we're going to start off with, right? We are going to start off with this fact. And I start off with this a lot when I talk about the lymph system. Man, okay, y'all hear me? Man did not create man. We're not that special. Man did not and cannot create a human being ever until the end of time. Let's just say that. Everybody agrees, right? Everybody can agree that, yeah? Okay. The entity, whether you call him God, the universe, she, whatever you call the entity that created humans, whatever you call her, that entity will always be the only thing that put this perfection together. Man is trying, because we're trying to be she, and it's very dangerous when we try to play God. But man still cannot create a human being. So I need you to get how powerful just being a human being is, for that simple reason. Go ahead, I'll give you a second. We're so much greater spiritually, internally, than this physical body that we can't even comprehend the power of the body. The benefit for me is I see the power of the body every single day. The things that I see the body do when you reset it, none of y'all would believe can actually happen unless you're the client on the table. And everybody's like, oh my God, Camille, this is a miracle. No, it's not. That is normal. The abnormal, stupid stuff is the fact that we have an expectation that we're supposed to break down. So let's go to that. So this incredible thing that we are, that was created by an entity that will always, forever be greater than man and human comprehension, you're going to tell me, or you're going to try to tell me, that that entity created a body that is meant to break down, that is meant to get sick, that is meant to be inflamed? Abso-freaking-lutely not. That's the dumbest, illogical thing that any of us should be thinking. This body was not meant to break down. And if you hadn't noticed, every functionality in the body and every necessary anything meant to function the body, from the cells, the bones, the lymph fluid, every organ, is inside, and then we're sealed on the outside. There's a reason for that. That means that every functionality and everything needed for that system, that internal system, to function is on the inside. But y'all keep letting more men and women, like people, you keep letting humans who weren't smart enough to create you in the beginning, or who weren't powerful enough to create you in the beginning, you're going to let those people who don't know anything more about you than you do, you're going to let them dictate what your brain feeds your body. Insanity. Insanity. Absolutely insane. Completely illogical. And the name of this show is Logical Wellness, because my goal to get you to global wellness is to understand that the body is logical. It is not scientific. And I'm going to prove it, right? My IG followers know, what do I always tell you? Don't Google shit. But you can Google if you're going to take pieces of information and string them together in a straight line for yourself to make that information work for you, and that doesn't, you throw it away. So there are certain ways that people can Google, and I'm going to show you how to do that so that your brain doesn't go south and be continued to be controlled by whatever you're putting through here. Everything that you put in, on, around the body, everything goes through the largest organ that covers the entire outside of the body and feeds the function of your cells. So when people talk about mind control, and TV, and some of y'all are like, you guys are conspiracy theorists. No, we know what we're talking about. It's so easy. It's almost too easy for people to get. Like they always say, if you want people to miss something, you put it down, you write it in a book, you do something that causes them to read. But I'll go further than that. It takes them having to connect what they're reading for it to make a difference. Yeah. So this is what we're going to do, because this is what I want y'all to do, right? So I went to Google definitions. So when we're talking about, and this is the insanity of, I'm sorry, I love everybody, but if one more person comes to me and says, you got to follow the science, I'm going to want to smack you with a sausage in your face. Okay? Because there is no science in biology. So let's look at the definition that those powers that be that give the definition, let's see what they say biology is. So if you Google, what's the definition of biology? I want you all to listen to what I'm reading, okay? Because many of us read things and then don't process. And we're like, we're going to follow the science. For what? There is no science in biology, people. Definition of biology, and I am reading. The study of living organisms. Living, that's us. We live, plants live, animals live, trees live. Everything that same universal power created, we are all living. Okay? The study of living organisms. Now listen to this. Divided into many specialized fields that cover their, meaning living organisms. And I want you all to raise your hand when you hear the word science, okay? So we're reading the definition of biology, which is the study of living organisms. And then they divide the study of living organisms into fields. And I want you to raise your hand when you hear the word science. Specialized fields that cover their morphology, physiology, anatomy, behavior, origin, and distribution. Period. Fields that cover their morphology, physiology, anatomy, behavior, origin, and distribution. Anybody hear the word science? I know I didn't hear science because science isn't in there. So if we want information about living organisms in biology, you will not follow anybody's fucking science. Excuse my language. Illogical things make me nuts, right? And it's right there for you. There is no science in their definition of biology. And if the biology is the study of living organisms like us, why do y'all geniuses keep following the science? Because you know what the science is doing? It's having your ass drop dead in the street. It's having kids with heart conditions. Are you shitting? I am at a point where my energy is super full because I'm tired of crying, and I'm tired of crying for families who are losing their freaking kids because they didn't know better and they didn't know to separate science from biology like they've done. I didn't do that. They did that. That's their definition. That is their definition. So biology, yeah? That's the definition of biology, study of living organisms. So as far as holistic work goes, that's all I need. Why do I want to go to science when there is no science involved in my biology according to their definition? So why would you do it? Now, let's go to biological, yeah? So my show is Logical Wellness, because wellness is logical. The brain controls the body. There is no function in the body without the brain. So if you want to heal the body, you heal the brain. It's logical. And you know how I know? It's logical because there is a word called bio, study of living organisms, logical. It's in your face. And that's what they do. They put it in our face, like the FDA. They have an agency that you all believe that you should listen to that determines how many drugs and chemicals can go in your food. Come on, y'all. It's so stupid. It's stupid. Like, it's right there in front of us and nobody is listening. Those of us that have been trying to tell you for a long time, now you're kind of getting it and you're like, is that a connection? It's the only connection. It's the only one that there is. Biological. It is not bioscientific. That is not a thing. So if you want to study dead lab rats, you go right over there to science. I'm not a dead lab rat, so I'm not doing anything science tells me to do. I'm doing what the biology of my biology is telling me I should do. Done. That easy. So let's read the definition of biological, shall we? Relating to biology or living organisms. You want me to read it again? Because I don't see the word science in there. You can raise your hand when you hear the word science. Relating to biology or living organisms. So according to their definition, biological, the study of living organisms, is logical, not scientific. Y'all keep following science. So let's talk about that problem. Yeah, let's talk about that. First of all, science happens where? In a lab, in a petri dish, under a microscope, being altered by computers and other people. So that's not where I live. I don't know about y'all, but I wasn't born in a lab. I wasn't born in a petri dish or under a microscope. I am not put together by chemicals. So there is nothing that has been conducted in a freaking science lab that I am going to use on my biology. It is not logical. It is not logical. Miss Victoria, if you're in Atlanta, you need to see me, and I'll show you all how to schedule. Definitely need to schedule. And we're going to talk about why that shot and that man-made virus once we talk about the lymph system. So if we are talking about the study of biology, listen, how many of y'all live in a science lab? And I'm dead ass. I want the answer to that question. If you actually live in a science lab, every day and you work in a science lab and you socialize in a science lab, I want you to tell me, because if you do, then the first place that I would tell you to go get information about your biology is in the freaking science lab. But if you, like me, are a human that internally is electricity surrounded by mineral salt water, explain to me what you think you are going to get as a benefit to your life that is created in a lab. Go ahead, I'll wait. Oh, nothing? Okay, yes. We came from the earth, right? Just like the universe. And if that's where we were created and we followed this mindset where, why do you follow science if we're talking about biology? We are natural beings. We were created like nature, outside of human comprehension and human ability. If we were created outside of human comprehension, why in the shit do you keep running back to a human to try and heal your natural space? It is impossible. You cannot do it. It will never, ever, 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 ever happen, which is why so many of you spend decades on meds that are only killing you. That's why, because you combine biology and science. They are not the same thing. They are different. One medicine turned into 76. Exactly. They are never fixing the problem. They can't, because the creation and function of the body is and always will be outside of human comprehension. So if humans can't create it, we cannot heal it. Period. Period. Everything they do in science, is experimental. I don't know about you, but when I was in school and we were in the 6th grade, we were pulling apart frogs and dead frogs and all that kind of stuff, right? And we were doing that in science class, not in biology. None of us are actually taught biology, right? Thanks, love. None of us are taught real biology because most of us don't know that the whole head and the face are a sinus cavity. And the whole idea of that is to feed oxygen to the cells that control your body. That is the definition of wellness, right? Is allowing this system, which I'm going to go through in a little bit, right? I'm going to go through in a little bit, this actual system that we call the lymph system. We've already established a number of things, and these are the inferences. These are the little pieces of logic that I like to give people, and then I let you take that information and either create a straight line or not. If you can't create a straight line, it is not logical. The brain, which fires in synapses, is logical. If the brain is in chaos, the body is sick 150 million% of the time. If the brain is in chaos, the body is sick. It is always and will always be about balance. When you're talking about breathing and yoga and minerals, it is all about balancing the mineral-based salt water that surrounds your electricity on the inside. Period. So we're going to go through that, right? So we've already gotten this point that humans cannot create humans, right? Period. Humans cannot create humans. Yeah? We got that. You got that? Okay. Humans cannot create humans, which means humans don't know shit about the internal workings of the body. Okay. So let's say that and remind you, when doctors go to med school, of which my parents are all doctors, you know, I love doctors because you study very hard. However, when it comes to med school, doctors study on what? Cadavers, dead people. They're freaking dead, okay? They're studying surgical techniques on dead people, but we're living people, yeah? So everything else is a practice, which is why they call it what? Practice of medicine. They're practicing. Who do you think they're practicing on? You. If you go there, where do you think they get their data from? You. And if we've already established that everything that the body needs to live is sealed on the inside, you can also infer that everything that causes the body to then heal again comes from the inside. Is that not right? It's logic. Okay. So I'm not giving you information that you can't take and do what you need to do with. It's all about that balance. It's about how does your body okay. You know what else? You know what we're going to do? Let me go through this. Again, we're going through Google because I want you all to understand how to process information. So we've already established that biology is the study of living organisms, not scientific shit in a lab, living organisms. Biological, the study of living organisms, is logical. That logic starts in the brain. The brain is the only brain that the body has. So whatever the brain tells the body has to do it. It's just, that's just it, right? So when doctors tell you that there are things that they know in only this 190 something years that the AMA has been a thing, they don't know. They don't know any more than you. You are the one who lives inside of you every day. You know when you drink something at home and makes you sick. You know when you don't get enough sleep. You know that you look a little crazy. You know that you don't feel well when you drink water. What is the very first thing a doctor does when you go and sit in their office? They ask you how you feel. So that same power that you're giving to them, you use for yourself, right? You learn how this body functions. And when I go through the lymph system, you all will understand how this body functions, because I will tell you from my daily experience with my clients, there is nothing on this earth besides nature that is more powerful than us internally. And I see that every day. People have been told for who knows how many years that they're dying, and they come and they get LFD and their symptoms go away, because the only thing Dr. Sebi was completely and utterly right, and nobody will get this more than he did. There is no such thing as disease, y'all. It is all inflammation. What is inflammation? It is excess stagnant water that is heavy, it's lymph water that's supposed to detox, that now sits in the cells. So essentially it's dumping shit into the cells. But that same lymph system is the system that was given to us to automatically take that out. So I got to back up a little bit because I was getting excited. So when we're talking about this system, I need y'all to put your power back. Do you know that we are, I hope, I don't watch the news because that's part of the frequency that affects the brain. But I hope to God that young football player didn't die. And there are two more athletes, another athlete who died, in their 30s. Y'all, you got 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds dying of myocarditis. Like what is the only thing that has changed in these last 2 years that people have done that is now causing people to just drop dead? The human genome didn't change in 2 years. Something is causing death. Doesn't just come. You don't just die suddenly. That's like, and if y'all haven't seen that documentary, I swear to God, you have to, because I'm going to explain to you in the body logically how that's happening. Remember, I'm not going to say anything to you that I don't know, because this is what I see every single day, and I feel it, and I look at my clients. You can see it everywhere. So we are talking about the most important system in your body, without a doubt. If I ask people what the most important system is, most of the time they'll say, the cardiovascular system, the circulatory system, the muscular system. Oh, is that right? Okay, well, let me say this. None of those systems work at all if the lymph system doesn't work. Period, point blank, period. And that's why they're not telling you about it. That's why they're not telling you, because this is the system that saves your life, and we all have it. But instead of fixing it, y'all keep putting extra shit in it that is man-made, that is killing you by the second. And y'all have no idea how easy it is to flip that switch. You have no clue. And you keep watching the freaking news, and the news keeps veiling those eyes. And if you veil the eyes, you veil the brain. The brain cannot heal the body, and you stay sick. The documentary is called Died Suddenly. It's y'all got to watch that, because that's real shit right there. And we're experiencing it. So for people in the holistic field, I can tell you, I'm not talking about things I read. I experience that every day, where people come and cry because somebody in their family all of a sudden drop dead. And there is only one thing that that family member did in the last year and a half to 2 years, right? So I don't even need to say what it is. Y'all already know, right? You all already know what that is. And we tried to tell you in the beginning who the lab rats were. When you allow yourself to be a lab rat, then you get what lab rats get. You know that lab rats, the ones that actually live, you know, they don't live in hotels and they have this great life and they get all the food that they want and, you know, they get happy. You know, they keep experimenting till they die, right? That is what allowing yourself to become a lab rat actually does. It does that. They just keep doing and doing and doing and doing until either you die or you tell them to stop. You make that one decision to tell them to stop, because the only person who could tell them is you. So why do you keep giving that power over your internal life to people who don't do it for your benefit? And like I say, I will never, ever, ever say anything bad about doctors. I love doctors and I love your commitment and I love your desire to help us. However, doctors know what they are taught, period. Our American Medical Association was created by Rockefeller for profit. You can read any book about that, right? Any book about that. The AMA was created to do exactly what it does. It controls everything a doctor can do, won't do, even if they know it's good for you, because they can't. If a doctor comes outside and does something that the American Medical Association or now the insurance companies say they shouldn't do, you know what they do to doctors? They put you in front of a board, and then they take your license because you didn't repeat what they told you to repeat. Not they take you to the board because you're not healing like they want you to do. They take you to the board because you are not repeating what they say that you have to repeat. And that, ladies and gentlemen, makes you collateral damage. And I am not telling you never to go to a doctor. What I am saying is when I was growing up, you didn't go to the doctor unless you were sick, right? You go to a doctor if you're sick. Hospitals weren't created to treat people. They were created for the army to sew limbs back on. So why do you keep reverting there to give your power, away? Yeah. And we can't even blame doctors. I have so many clients who are like, well, this doctor did this and they didn't do this. They couldn't. They're not allowed. If their big brother says they can't, I don't care if they think it's a great regimen for you. If the insurance company says we're not paying you because we don't want to, that doctor potentially may not do something that will save your life. But you know who can save your life? You can. You absolutely can. You can save your life, and I'm going to explain it to you, right? So there is a system in the body called the lymphatic system, right? There is no immune system, you know. There is no immune system. An immune system is what our Western American Medical Association has coined to include the detox organs and the lymph system, right? But I'm going to say this to you. If your lymph system is not functioning, there is no immunity in the body at all. None. So let me explain what the immune system is. The lymphatic system. So if your lymphatic system isn't flowing, then there is no immunity. Y'all, it's done. Bye-bye, bye-bye. So the lymph system is a water system. Remember, like the universe and this planet, we're mostly water. There is a reason for that. And it's very, very important. So I need y'all to catch this, right? There is a reason the body is made of water. What is carried in water? Oxygen, right? Oxygen, H2O, oxygen. You know, oxygen doesn't just float in the body, right? It's carried in the water. So this perfect system that works perfectly on the inside. Young Dynasty, you have lymphedema because this system I'm talking about has a stagnation in it. So we are a water system, right? Like the ocean. And so you know what carries? So let's connect, right? We're doing logical, yeah? So when we're talking about oxygen in the body, right? Or oxygen that we breathe, many people are like, oh yeah, we need to stop cutting down the trees because the trees give us oxygen. No, they don't. When we exhale toxin, which is why masks are stupid as shit. Okay. When we exhale, one of those toxins that we exhale is CO2. Trees absorb CO2. So like a Himalayan salt lamp, they create an antioxidant sphere so that it eats the free radicals, which allow fibrin, which creates inflammation. Whole different conversation, but still. So we do not get the majority of the oxygen that we breathe from trees. You know where we get it? From the ocean, from the phytoplankton in the bottom of the ocean. Those phytoplankton, the ones we're fucking up with all this plastic, you know what we do when we kill the oceans? We kill our oxygen. Period. Oxygen is carried in the minerals in the water, like in the minerals of our water in the lymph system. Remember, we're nature. That's not a joke. That's not fake. We are completely connected. Just like when you look at trees, what do trees look like? With their branches are lungs and vessels in the body. Just like they breathe, we breathe. Okay? But we are made up of mostly water. And that is because water carries the oxygen the cells need to function the body. Okay? So it's logic. Yeah? So the water system that we call the lymphatic system is the only system that touches literally every single cell, organ, tissue, everything in the body for a reason. Like the ocean, what causes sediment to not build in the bottom of the ocean? Movement, right? Which is why there's the moon, which controls the wind, which controls the waves in the ocean. So just like the ocean, if we don't want sediment or inflammation or fire to build in the body, what do? We move it. That is the idea behind exercise. You have to keep the fluid in the body moving, because what happens when that's the case? Our bodies were created perfectly, y'all. You think the creator that created us is going to give us some shit that's going to break down? No, that's stupid human thinking. Absolutely not. This was made perfectly on the inside. It is us dummies who are humanified, I call them humanified, because humanified, we're just dumb. Spiritually, souls, we are perfect. But when we get in these bodies, we become stupid as hell. When we have this in the body, this on the inside, the water in our lymphs was given to us to move automatically. All it takes is a little vibration, percussion, movement that moves the wave. And if you keep the wave or the ripple effect in the body, guess what is always high? Oxygen flow, blood flow. Guess what is not a thing? Stagnation. So stagnation and inflammation are generally the same thing. Yeah. So, well, let me say this first. If your water is moving in your body automatically, you never have to worry about disease, because the lymph system is the water system that runs along the veins and the capillaries, pulling all of the toxic shit that we put in it out into the water. And it flows in dumps into these strategically placed trash cans we call lymph nodes. And those lymph nodes automatically dump back into the waste side of that filtration system of the lymphs, giving that system the automatic process of detoxing your body. So when that fluid doesn't stop moving, there's no inflammation. And if there's no inflammation, there's no what? Pain, disease, skin problems, anytime. So let's go here. And we'll do specifically about this man-made virus, And they did make it, right? Y'all do know that virus carried a patent, just like all the other viruses that you can actually Google, again, right in front of our faces, but we don't do it. Google the patents on that virus and all of the other pandemics that we've experienced. Just Google the patent, and you can't have a patent on something that you didn't make. So they made it. In this perfection of the body, every function in the body happens through water, including through the organs, right? Because the lymph system is that system that pulls molecules. Our internal workings is molecular in size. What happens in the body is molecular, nanomolecular in size, so that it flows through our water, which is the problem with them working on nanotechnology. You do know what nanotechnology means, right? It means they're trying to create computer-generated programs that are small enough to fit through the lymph water. It's called control of your body. My God. So when you are running to a human who did not create you, who did not understand the functionings of your workings of the body, and who said we needed to. All we need to do is to know how to reset it. That's it. We don't need to know any of that other shit. Why do we need to know it? Science needs to know it because they need to experiment on it, right? Because we want to play God. So them working on nanotechnology should be a very big problem for you. Do not fall into the propaganda where, oh, this is great. This is the next field of study, this nanotechnology. You better run your ass as far away as you can anytime any doctor or anybody talks about putting nanotechnology into your body. Abso-freaking-lutely not. Absolutely not. Thank you, Renee, for answering that question. Yo, my affiliates, I love y'all, are on this live. So thank you for answering those questions. Y'all, I know Cheryl, you're on here too. Patrice, you're on here too. Feel free to answer those questions because they're going to answer like I answer. So this system, it's molecular, right? So understand that anything man-made, listen to what I'm saying, anything man-made, because man can't create humans, which means man can't create yet nanotechnology yet that can go through this system. Because they can't, the molecules of everything that man makes are too big to get through the natural nanomolecular water of our lymph system. Period. Point blank freaking period. If we were not created by man, everything man creates is going to be too toxic, molecularly large to get through our natural water. Period. Period. I don't give a shit what anybody says about if you want to prove me wrong, I am all open for it. I'm open for it. But if you can't, then I'm not listening, right? I'm not listening. Every issue, right? Every issue. Oh my God, somebody asked me about stints. Oh my God, I hate them. But I have to talk about the lymphs so then you can get what that is. So if the water is flowing, right, it's automatic process. 24/7, 365, the lymphs run, and we're not supposed to know about it. We're just supposed to be asymptomatic. But if the body gets molecules in the water that are too big, like a man-made virus, then the molecule gets stuck in the water of the lymphs, right? But the body is so smart, so smart. Anytime there is a stagnation or a sticking, stuck, stagnation, stuck, when there is something stuck in this lymph system, which, by the way, also includes what? Mucus. It's the mucus that allows the flow of the lymph water. So if there's a stagnation in either that mucus or that lymph water, you're going to get a dam, right? Like beavers. You're going to get a dam, and the water begins to back up and settle. That's what initially causes pain and itching in the body. Yeah? If you don't affect that stagnation, if you don't open the dam of that water, then the body is brilliant. And that same lymph system says, uh-oh, got to fix the problem, got to send more water. What is in the water that the water system sends? Antibodies. That's what antibodies are. They're soldier cells in the water that are sent to remove the blockage, whatever it may be, so the lymph water then flows again, right? Because if there's a stagnation and water that sits for a long time gets heavy, right? Heavy and hot. That's fire, inflammation. Inflammation is always water until it's not. So if it sits, the body keeps sending more, right? But if the blockage is still there, then it just grows and swells, and then that water settles, and then the tissue is, y'all, it is excess water and mucus in the fat cell that causes it to stretch because there is a lymphatic blockage or a lymphatic slowing in the body. Yeah. So you have to absolutely remove that stagnation, but it takes the lymph system to do that. So the lymph is everything. The lymph is the healer. The lymph is also the remover. But if there is a short circuit in that process, yeah, then fluid builds. We then get scar tissue, but then what else happens? Remember, there's energy that runs through that water that takes a very specific balance of electricity and water to not short circuit ourselves. So if that water sits for too long, like your phone, what are you going to do? You are going to short circuit. Yeah. You are going to short circuit that electricity. You're going to short circuit it. Somebody asked about water pills. Lots of people take water pills. I hate those because water pills don't remove the blockage. They just force your body to pull fluid from other areas, right? So you pee all the time, but it's not fixing the problem, right? It is not fixing the problem. You have to remove the blockage. Once you remove the blockage, the water is automatic, right? Which is the importance of vibration, exercise, mineral intake. That water of the lymphs is mineral based, not vitamin based. It's mineral based, which is why Himalayan salt heals the body. We are salt water on the inside. They got y'all tripping about y'all shouldn't eat salt if you got high blood pressure. Shit, if you got high blood pressure, you better put Himalayan salt on everything. It's the iodized salt that you shouldn't eat. The white salt. Minerals are color, right? We need minerals in our water to keep the mucus thin enough, to keep the water flowing, to keep the oxygen flowing to the cells. If the cells have oxygen deprivation, they begin to become toxic and die in inflammation. That is what they call cancer, ladies and gentlemen. It is all inflammation. It is all due to the lymph water having a stagnation where it cannot carry the oxygen to the cells. And so here's how logical and easy, right? And perfect this body was that was created. Yeah. Right. So you know what? I love some of y'all. Maya, what's up, my sweet? Maya says, what is water pills? Why don't you drink water? And you're right. That's the illogic. People will go to the freaking doctor, right, and get a water pill that is going to increase your blood pressure because the lymphs have to try and fight the freaking pill. And all you got to do is do some vibration, get on a vibration plate, increase the water, which increases the oxygen, thinning the mucus, breaking the blockage. So yes, absolutely right, my dear Maya. That's exactly my point. Logical wellness, right? So we got to get the blockages moved. If we don't, then we have problems. So somebody asked me specifically about water. Yeah. I'm sorry, about fibroids. Let me explain this about fibroids and prostate problems, y'all. They're the same freaking problem. It's the same problem. So remember I talked about the lymph system. The lymph system starts in the head. So the joke that many of y'all, for me, that many of y'all do is you're running around seeing a gazillion doctors to fix a body without affecting the head first. How in the shit do you do that? There is no function in the body without the head. So if you're not opening or keeping your head clear of excess mucus, the body by default follows the head. It is a head, right? It sits on the top of the body, controls the body, has the brain in it, and the sinuses, and everything that we need to put into the body, from water to minerals to certain sounds to brain function to oxygen. You do know all of that comes from the head, right? The heart and the lungs don't actually breathe. They don't have nostrils. They have to process the oxygen that's coming from the freaking head. Like, it's not that hard. It's here, right? All we got to do is look at it, put it together, and do a little bit of logical connection, and that's what we do, right? So prostates and fibroids are the same issue. So in this body, the body is mostly underneath the skin, a waterway, yeah? But the lymph nodes, the trash cans in the body that actually dump back into the lymph system, are most prevalent where? In the freaking abdomen, right? In and around the gut and the reproductive organs, which is why you may see some doctors saying disease begins in the gut. No, it doesn't. It begins up here, but it lives in the gut, because if all of those trash cans in and around the gut, all of those cells require very, very, very sufficient amounts of oxygen to turn over and dump the trash cans. But if the oxygen that they use only comes from the sinus cavities in the freaking head, and the sinus cavities are full of stagnant fluid and mucus, what in the hell do you think is going to happen in the trash cans? Instead of dumping back into the lymphs, they dump on top of itself. Yeah. And all of those toxic, nasty molecules that the lymphs would normally automatically pick up and get rid of in the waterway now sit dumped into the tissues around the abdominal cavity and the reproductive organs. That's what prostate issues are. That's what fibroids are. That's what endometriosis is. That's what big guts are. That's what every problem that lives, that's what it is. It is a stagnation and an overflow of the trash cans. And instead of the trash cans dumping into the waterway to get out, they're dumping back into the body. And that's some shit. That's the easiest way. The easiest way to make your body well is to reset the balance. The definition of disease, according to those that give us the definition of disease, Google it. The definition of disease will tell you it's the body out of order. Yeah, right. Out of balance. So if you want the body to get better, you put the body back in balance. How do you do that? You reset the lymph system, remove the blockages, right? And then the body goes into autopilot. But y'all keep putting man-made chemicals in your body every day, every day, every day, every day, on top of a lymphatic system that already has a blockage in it. And what do you expect the medication to do? Sit in the tissues and now being dumped in a trash can that's dumping that shit right back into your body. And you wonder why you never get better, because you don't do a reset. You don't do a freaking reset. Exactly. Dis-ease. The body is uneasy. It is out of balance. It is not pH balanced. It is not alkaline. That's what pH balance and alkaline means, right? It means your mineral concentration of your water is in perfect balance with your electricity so that your body does not short circuit. And everybody is asking how to reset the lymphs. So here's the greatest thing that I love to tell people. This is what excites my life, right? This is what I love to be able to say. Any way your body says you need to. We are natural beings, okay? And every single one of us on this planet are different, which means I could give you all the advice in the world about what to do and what I do. But that's not going to work like that for you, because you haven't assessed how you live. You don't live like me, right? So every single person on this planet simply needs to know how to do this. Read the symptoms in their body to understand how to fix the problem, right? Because any time that you have a issue, a symptom, that is a signal that the body has been stagnant in an area. Very simple, very logical. So people can do what their body says. So in LFD, this machine that I created is one of the ways you can do that. The machine senses where your water is stagnant in your body and changes the wavelength to rebalance your body. That's just seeing me or one of my affiliates. There aren't many of us in this world, but we're there, right? So that's one way. But you could see us every single day, Chit Chat Radio. I will see y'all next week. Thank you so much for being on. I will see y'all next Wednesday, 7:30. So